Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today, we are exploring what is literally the ultimate piece of engineering. It doesn't run on electricity, it doesn't need gasoline, and it's honestly way more advanced than any computer ever built. I'm talking, of course, about the human body. Now, if you're working through the IB Primary Years Program Inquiry into Who We Are, you already know that figuring out the nature of the self starts right here with our own physical biology. So let's just dive right into it. Did you know your heart is basically just a muscle the size of your fist? Seriously, hold up your hand right now and squeeze it into a tight fist. Take a good look at it. That is roughly the size of your amazing heart. Now squeeze that fist open and closed, over and over. That contracting and squeezing, that is exactly what your heart muscle is doing all day and all night. It's pumping liquid blood without you even having to think about it. It is one incredibly hard worker.
Here's a quick roadmap for what we're covering today. First, welcome to your body. Second, bones and muscles. Third, the delivery highway. Fourth, the breath of life. Fifth, food to energy. And finally, number 6, the big picture.
Okay, let's get into section 1. Welcome to your body, the ultimate machine. Think of the human body kind of like a massive, bustling city. You've got all these different departments handling entirely different jobs, but they absolutely have to communicate and rely on each other to keep you alive and healthy. Today, we're going to look at the body's framework, its engine, its plumbing, its ventilation, and finally, its fuel processor. Moving to section 2, bones and muscles, the framework and the engine. So, how many bones were you born with? Take a quick guess in your head right now. Go on, pick a number. I'll bet it's actually a lot higher than you think. Ready? You were born with about 300 bones. But here's a pretty surprising fact. As a fully grown adult, you only have 206. Now, you might be wondering where they went. Well, they didn't just disappear. As you grow, many of those tiny baby bones actually fuse together to form much larger, stronger, solid bones. Now, a lot of that early baby skeleton starts out as something called cartilage. Reach up really quick and bend the tip of your ear, or wiggle your nose from side to side. You feel that flexible, rubbery stuff under the skin? That's cartilage. Most of the bones in your early skeleton begin as this flexible cartilage and are eventually replaced by hard, solid bone as you grow up. Although some of it, like the cartilage in your knees, never actually turns into bone. Okay, so the skeletal system gives you your shape and acts like solid armor. But how do we actually move it around? With the muscular system, of course. Muscles are stretchy, kind of like thick rubber bands. But there's a super important fundamental mechanical rule you've got to remember. Muscles only pull, they never push. Because they can only contract, which basically means they get shorter and tighter, they always have to work in pairs. When one muscle pulls to bend your arm up, another totally opposite muscle has to pull to straighten it back out. We can actually divide these muscle engines into 2 main types. Voluntary muscles are the ones you consciously choose to control, like when you wave your hand at a friend or kick a soccer ball. Involuntary muscles, on the other hand, work completely automatically behind the scenes. You don't have to remind your stomach to digest your lunch or your heart to keep eating. Your amazing machine just handles the whole shebang for you. Section 3, the delivery highway, the circulatory system. This busy highway system basically has 3 main parts. Your heart is the pump. The blood vessels are the pipes, with arteries carrying blood away from the heart and veins bringing it back. And finally, the liquid blood itself acts as the delivery trucks, flowing smoothly all over to drop off nutrients and haul away waste. Oh, and let's bust a major myth right now. Your blood is always red inside your body, never blue. I know it sometimes looks a little blue when you look at the veins through your skin, but nope, it's always red. Let's look a bit closer at the pump itself. The heart has 4 distinct rooms, or chambers. The top 2 receiving chambers are called the atria, and the bottom pumping chambers are the ventricles. There's this thick muscle wall right down the middle called the septum. And honestly, my favorite part, the valves. Valves, like the mitral and aortic valves, act like little one-way doors. They literally snap shut to keep the liquid blood moving in the right direction. You know that famous lub-dub sound a doctor hears through a stethoscope? You're actually listening to the sound of those exact valves snapping shut. And the heart has this incredible hidden secret. It's actually 2 totally different pumps stuck together in one. The right side receives returning blood that's full of carbon dioxide trash, and it pumps it over to the lungs for a fresh breath of air. The left side then receives that highly oxygenated blood from the lungs and forcefully pumps it all the way out to the rest of your body. Section 4, the breath of life, the respiratory system. So here are the incredible mechanics behind taking a breath. Your diaphragm muscle pulls down, which expands your chest cavity. Air rushes in, passing your larynx, which is your voice box, and travels down the trachea. That trachea is kept wide open by stiff rings of cartilage, and it's lined with tiny hairs called cilia that constantly sweep away any dust or foreign particles. Finally, air enters your balloon-like lungs and hits millions of tiny air sacs called alveoli. This is where a truly amazing physical process called diffusion happens. Oxygen, which is a gas, crosses over into your liquid blood, while carbon dioxide gas moves out of the blood so it can be exhaled. If you ever get the steps of respiration confused, here's a super simple memory aid for you. Inhale means air goes in, exhale means air exits. Easy, right? Now here's a really fun fact for you. Did you know your lungs aren't actually the exact same size? It's true, your left lung is slightly smaller than your right lung. And why is that? Well, it's to make a little extra room in your chest cavity so your heart can sit just slightly to the left. Your body's engineering is just perfectly optimized. Section 5. Food to energy. The digestive system. Watch how your food undergoes massive physical and chemical changes here. First, your mouth physically grinds up your solid food while your saliva jumps in to start breaking it down chemically. Then it travels down a tube called the esophagus right into the stomach. Now the stomach acts like a super powerful mixer. It uses special juices to physically and chemically change that solid food into a thick liquid mush. That liquid then travels right through the small intestine where all the good nutrients are absorbed straight into the blood. Finally, the large intestine removes any extra water and packages up the waste. So we literally just watched a solid physically and chemically change its state into a liquid so our body could easily use it. Ultimately, the entire goal of this long, winding food processor is to extract the exact chemical nutrients your body needs to run on: carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. Finally, Section 6, the big picture, working together. Notice how perfectly everything we just talked about interconnects. Your lungs gather oxygen gas from the air around you. Your digestive system processes solid food down into liquid nutrients. Then, your heart and your circulatory highway step up to deliver that oxygen and fuel to every single cell. And finally, your muscles use that chemical energy to pull on your solid skeletal framework so you can walk, run, and play. It's one continuous, beautiful, completely interconnected loop of biology. To wrap this all up, I want you to consider this staggering fact. Thanks to this amazing teamwork, it takes less than 60 seconds for your heart to pump fresh oxygen and nutrients to every single living cell in your entire body. Your human machine is an absolute marvel of engineering. So the only real question left to ask is, what are you going to do with your incredible machine today? Keep exploring, keep learning, and always marvel at the science inside you. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer.